Let's go. Hi everyone. Welcome to this stream of me and Andy just talking bollocks as usual, and yeah, mostly today about Black Mirror season 1 episode 2, but also, and we'll come on to that lately. I think Andy's just watched The Room today on my advice, so we've got a lot to talk about for any fans of The Room. But yeah, of course, first we're doing our Black Mirror podcast thing. Podcast sounds a bit grand, doesn't it? Sort of our Black Mirror talk.
Rant. Black Mirror rant.
But doesn't a rant have to be angry?
I suppose so. But I'm always kind of angry, so...
Are you?
You know. Well, yeah, that's what I get told at work.
Ah, well.
Anyway, but no, I mean, there's nothing to be... Should we talk about the Black Mirror thing first?
Yeah. So Arkangel, of course, the second episode of Black Mirror. The overall kind of premise is it's basically like they give the daughter of a mother a chip, and it's a new thing so she gets it for free, a chip that puts in her brain, and then the mum has like an iPad and she can see whatever her daughter's doing, and she can actually use a function to block things that might be upsetting, so like a dog barking or something like that. She can press a button and it will block the daughter from seeing these things as she's a kid. And then it sort of follows over time as she grows up, and then the mum kind of realises that the chip thing, sorry, not the chip, the iPad thing and watching her daughter is not a brilliant idea. And there's reasons behind that, and we'll go into that shortly. The whole episode, in my personal opinion, it was a bit slower than other Black Mirrors, but well, I suppose the ending kind of was good. What did you think of it, Andy?
What, overall?
Yeah, if you can give us any sort of synopsis that I've missed out, that would be useful too.
Well, I mean, obviously you've touched on the main thing. It was a way for parents to keep tabs on the children, but as you find later in the episode, it got outlawed in certain countries. And I think that was important to mention that, because I was finding it difficult to buy into the premise, because I was thinking it's too silly that anybody could possibly want to do that and block the children from seeing bad things, because only a total moron would think that that's healthy for a child's development. Now, as we said, it's only a movie, but you've got to buy into the idea. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, well.
But they did say, it's outlawed in certain countries.
And
obviously the problems were, as she was growing up and she was walking past like a dog barking, and she couldn't see the dog barking because it was like stressful for her. And obviously that shielded her from...
the machine also read their brainwaves, didn't it? So like if she was stressed, the mum could see and then decide to block things out.
Yeah. But there were certain things that were automatically blocked out, wasn't there? Like when she walked past the dog, she couldn't see the dog barking or even hear it.
Well,
I think she could hear it, but she couldn't see it.
When they first took her in to have the chip put in her head, I don't know if you noticed, but it automatically blocked out the army guy after a few seconds. Oh no, she did. No, the lady showed us she pressed the button, but I don't know if you realised that was from season 3. The clip of the army guy shooting was from the army episode from before, the Civil War style one.
Ah, right.
So nice little Easter egg there. I do like the little sort of tie-ins they do throughout it.
Yeah, you do. I was thinking it was getting a bit slow. I did enjoy the premise. I found it a little bit predictable. I kind of knew she was going to that guy was going to end up screwing her, and mum was going to see it. I knew she was going to start taking drugs. It was just a bit like, you knew where it was going right from the beginning. It was a bit of an obvious...
I don't know, because at one point the mum she puts down the thing and says, I'm not looking at that anymore. And she only gets it out again when her daughter does go missing again, of course. When she does, it happens to be when she's, getting pumped for the first time.
Sinister Skeleton has made a good point. I thought it was a social comment about how parents would naturally want to protect their children, and some parents would go to any lengths to keep their children innocent.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose, yeah, but you're right. I just thought that it's a little bit of too much of an obvious social comment to make. I don't know.
I don't know. I think actually, as the ideas have gone in this series, it's one of the most original. Although to an extent, I think all of them are sort of kind of to an extent rehashes of the previous episodes. But this episode, I thought, actually, looking back as I think about it, it was more enjoyable than I think I thought at the time. I think I went into it, I wasn't expecting much from it, though, because when I started watching it, as soon as it came on, I was like, this is the Jodie Foster directed episode. It just looked... I'm not a fan of Jodie Foster as a director, so I wasn't expecting much from it at all. But I think the writing is still so good that it upheld as an episode. And actually, it's probably... It was a good episode. I don't think any have been bad.
No, they're not bad. I can't even make my mind up whether I enjoyed it or not. No, I did enjoy it.
I think I quite again. It was another one where maybe you'll disagree with me, Andy, because you hate. Well, it wasn't a happy ending, but it was an ending with more people alive than I expected it to be.
Yeah, I wanted a murder in it, at least. Unfortunately, I wanted a mum. I think it would have been more impactful if the mum had been brutally murdered, because it would have said, if you go to those lengths of control, these are the repercussions. The repercussions are disastrous.
But I think it poignantly didn't do that, because I think that, you know, the way that kind of scene happened with her with the mum getting beaten, you expected her to be dead, and then she wasn't. And then I think isn't it worse to live with a child that hates you and you'll never know when you'll see again?
Well, of course, from that character's perspective, I agree with you. But I'm, as an audience, as someone in the audience, I want to be shocked and entertained, and I'm not interested in how the characters feel. Well, I am, but what I mean is it's more important for me to be surprised. And the thing, I think you get something slightly different out of it sometimes. I want to feel a bit, yeah, I don't want to feel depressed after I've watched it, but I want to be in shock, like I was when what was it the White Bear episode?
Oh, yeah.
That left me feeling kind of... It was harrowing is the word I like to use. You feel shocked, but kind of thinking that it's a possibility that could happen in the future. You can kind of see that's the way things are going. I suppose you got a bit of that in that episode, but I like to feel a little shocked, like a horror film. You know, like when you've watched a horror film and you're walking away and you're a little bit disturbed, but in kind of a, you know, not too bad away. Sinister Skeleton says, what I didn't get is how the daughter was obviously going to leave, but didn't think about packing the iPad monitoring thing first.
Well, no, she just used that to beat her mum over the head with, though, didn't she? I don't think it was going to work anymore.
No, it was, as I understand it, I might be wrong, I think it was, like, destroyed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it didn't work after she smashed her mum to 6 inches of her life with it.
Unless he's talking about an earlier point, because yeah.
No, he must mean the only point the daughter left was at the very end, which. Oh, we should have said, guys. There's spoilers here, by the way. If you haven't watched it,
it's a bit late now, pal. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, there we go. But overall, I thought it was an enjoyable episode. Well, for me, the main sort of point to take from it, and it probably had more of a point than the first episode, although I enjoyed the USS Callister episode more. Probably like the main thing it was sort of saying, like, don't, like, that being too overprotective of your children is never going to lead to a good thing.
Yeah, it was just, it was a bit too much of an obvious commentary for me. That's all. Tell me more. I'm sorry, I've gone off Adam and Andy always talking about pedo stuff. These guys are so wrong.
Well, we're talking about Black Mirror now, so I wouldn't get involved in the comments now, Andy.
Oh no, I'm just reading what people are saying. You know, it is an interactive chat thing, isn't it? But there you go. There's no. I don't know what else to say about it. Really, it was kind of, yeah, I was a bit like unsure after I finished watching it, kind of where I ranked it. You know, I was a bit like, I must admit, after I finished watching it, do you know what my immediate thought was? How I think they're struggling for new angles and not necessarily storylines, but I think with the first 3 series, most things had kind of a new and a different spin on it. And I think maybe they're running out of ideas now. Is that fair to say?
I think that's going to be a theme we'll probably come back to when we do sort of an overall review of the season as a whole. But I think to an extent, I don't know if it's, and I sort of mentioned this in the last podcast we did about Black Mirror, but I don't know if it's because now sort of we've had 6 episodes in the last 2 years, whereas the first 2 seasons were a good few years apart, weren't they? And I think because it's been bought and paid for by Netflix, perhaps they're under a bit more pressure to keep making episodes that perhaps haven't had as much creativity put into them as before.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and but saying that though, season 3 was really good, and that was Netflix funded, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was the first Netflix series, and probably Brooker had a lot of those ideas already for the next series. But to sort of have a 3rd series and then a 4th series within 12 months, I don't think. I think maybe he's being pushed a bit for the money to, maybe it's going to become more of a yearly series where we get 6 episodes every year, but then we're going to have to accept the shock value and the overall, although I'm sure it'll still be great content, but the quality is going to diminish somewhat if you're having to. It's like the difference between British and US sitcoms. US sitcoms, they're forced to do 24 episodes a year on average, and that's why English sitcoms normally do 6 episodes per season. The really good sitcoms finish after a maximum of 2, maybe 3 seasons. Because they push all the jokes into that short space, whereas with American writers, they're forced to push everything together and then get cheap laughs out of anything. You look at series and I really don't have time for them, and I apologise if there's fans of them, but The Big Bang Theory and How I Met Your Mother is fucking awful. I'm sorry if people disagree, but it is really bad.
I've not watched those. There's not many American sitcoms that I watch. I think that, and I know I'm going to offend some people, so we might as well not offend, but I cannot stand, this has got nothing to do with anything, but I can't stand Friends. I mean, literally. Oh, God, it makes me heave in disgust, but there you go.
Wow,
each to their own.
Friends had its moments, but it was kind of there as I was a kid growing up. It would be on Channel 4 at 6:30 when we were having our tea on the coffee table. So,
yeah, I mean, I understand I'm of the minority, so maybe I'm missing something. I just find it a little bit like, as I'm watching it, it's like when I went on lads' holidays, they'd always have it on in the bars when we'd be having tea in the day or whatever. And I was just thinking, did a 6-year-old write this? The jokes are just silly, obvious, and you have to have canned laughter. And anyway, it's not let's have a go at Friends stream, is it?
No, it's not. No, but yeah, I think with American things, because they're forced to do so many more episodes in such shorter space of times, that the quality always becomes somewhat diluted or compressed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, The American Office is a perfect example. The first 4, I'd probably say 4 series I loved. I thought it was brilliant. Some of them were on par with The English Office. Some of the comedy in it and the the storylines were good. And then I just got bored of it. When it got to about season 5, I was just like, it just seemed to be treading water. Really.
What's that? The Office.
The American Office.
Yeah. No, I enjoy all of it. I think even the latter seasons where Steve Carell's left is still enjoyable.
I don't know where they're up to now. Is it still going?
Uh, no. It finished like season 8 or 9.
All right, okay. But yeah, that's quite a long stint. You'd never get a sitcom in England that'd last that long, would
No,
you?
actually, I liked The American Office, but it had Gervais and Merchant as executive producers, so it was always going to be like the first season was horrible because they tried to recreate everything joke for joke, and it didn't work. But after the second season, they split off and did their own thing. The American Office was fantastic.
It was very good. Yeah, I like it how obviously Carol's a bit like Brent, but yet not quite the same. Bit his own character, really, in a way.
I think you probably couldn't get more of a perfect sort of American equivalent of Brent, though. A bit better looking because they've got a larger pool of people to choose from. A bit more lonely because they live in a country with larger people. Although
he
Brent
does better with the women than Brent did.
Oh, he did, yeah. But I think when you have a character like Steve Carell, because I mean, he's not hideous or anything, is he? Certainly. So, I mean, not I'm. Well, anyway, but
Not like what?
not I'm gay for him. I'm just saying, like, you can see he's not a. You know, he's not this sort of person that repulses women. So I think to keep a story like that realistic, they did very well, especially with Carell's Michael Scott character, because he got women, but he always was terrible just through his insecurities. And because I watched the classy Christmas episode of The Office earlier today because I was like, oh, I need more Christmas in my life. And yeah, that's when Holly, the replacement for Toby, comes back for the Christmas party, and he decides it needs to be classy. But anyway, yeah, no, Michael Scott was a very good equivalent, although, yes, definitely slightly different version of David Brent. We've totally gone off Black Mirror here, though, haven't we? And ended up talking about the US and UK office is.
Well, you know, we're gonna go off topic every now and again, aren't we? But I don't know. Is there anything else left to say about about that particular episode?
Well, we haven't covered like really what happened at the end. As people know, they're aware there's going to be spoilers, but obviously, like the whole ending is the mum, because she's got this iPad that can see what her daughter's seeing, and then she turns it on. She hasn't turned it on for years. Then she turns it on, and her daughter's getting seen to by this fella, and then she wants to do cocaine. And actually, the guy comes across okay, doesn't he? Because he's like, he's just moving on the cocaine. He's not actually taking it or anything herself. But she's all like, oh, I want to do the fucking cocaine. And so he's like, oh, if you must. So she does some cocaine. Of course, her mum just happens to turn on the monitor at that point. Oh, and also the daughter, she was all like, because the guy, he had shown her porn, hadn't he? He was the first one to show her porn. So when she slept with him for the first time, she was saying all this porn stuff, like, oh, please, harder, sort of thing. And so the mum saw that and thought her daughter was an absolute slut. And then she saw her daughter doing some cocaine, and that's when she then went and said to the guy, you better leave her alone or I'm going to tell on you. Yeah, and that's when the daughter. Then the guy, of course, obviously, then that bit for me was kind of the most obvious thing that was going to happen. The classic, like, something happens that the lover doesn't know about, but the other one has to be a real bastard to them. That's the kind of thing like I was used to from like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or something like that. He was like, yeah, I can't talk to you, I hate you now, blah blah. But no, that's not really the case. He still loves her. It's just the mum that had a go at him.
Yeah, I'm just kind of reading the plot point on Wikipedia, and it's kind of something that I sort of forgot about, which is pretty silly, really. Is the fact that she went missing when she was younger, and that's the reason why Well, only for a couple of minutes, but that's the reason why she decided to have it done.
Oh yeah, that's at the very start. I mean, that's very
because
poignant.
she got scared.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was more or less in real time, that scene, and actually that was. At that point I was really excited for the episode because I was like, oh, this might be like missing crazy technology, but then she got her back within a few minutes, and it wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that she might die and some kind of grieving parent kind of story or something. I don't know, but and then there was the bit where her grandfather was having the attack and she couldn't respond because she couldn't see what was going on.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, that was very poignant as well. That was part of leading up to her mum deciding to not use the thing and turn all the filters off, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they did say, didn't they, once it's implanted, the device, it can't ever be removed.
Yeah.
Which is obviously...
No, they do. They just turn it off. That's all she had to do.
Oh, yeah, but what I mean is the implant can't be removed. They can't go in and take it out.
The implant will always be in there, but the mum never actually needed to look. She just decided to.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. She kind of goes off the rails a little bit, but not anything more than what maybe someone of that age,
would do. No, it's very natural, normal timings for that kind of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. And yeah, as it's been mentioned, it's just kind of about, I always think that try to have Black Mirrors like there's lessons concealed in all of them, but I suppose maybe I'm thinking that with that one it's just...
Well, I think there is a lesson in there. I'd say that's probably... I know we're avoiding talking about further episodes, but that's probably one with the most outright kind of moral lesson to it.
Yeah, I think the lesson is you can't have too much. If you try and have too much control over anybody, especially children, it will ultimately become destructive because you can't. You've got to trust the flow of life. Basically.
You've got to cut the apron strings at some point.
Yeah.
That's the old adage, isn't it?
Yeah, and I suppose maybe with iPhones and things like that now, I suppose I've never really thought about this before.
Kids do. I think now you have to give them more freedom at an earlier age because kids have become so much more acclimatized to stuff in the world that we wouldn't have done when we were younger. Because, I mean, when you and I were growing up, we wouldn't have had the internet until we were in our late teens.
Oh, yeah, and even then it was, it wasn't anything like it is now. I mean...
dial-up connection, waiting...
Yeah. I mean, the internet has changed the world, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, it has, and I think it's a sad thing, but people lose their innocence younger, and I think there's no other way around it. Like, you can't ban people from the internet because it is it's the internet super information highway.
Yeah, well, I mean, it touched upon it in that episode that, she was watching porn. She was kind of shown it, wasn't she? Like, by that guy.
Porn and violence and everything.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that in. Have you seen, without going off topic too much, have you seen that new Netflix series called The Sinner?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty good. You'll like that. There's also a new documentary that I've seen called The Cannibal Cop, which you will fucking love, and we need to do a stream about that. Has anybody in the chat seen that? About the American police officer that got done for trying to eat people? Well, he thought about it, and that's the whole point of the documentary.
I've been watching Hannibal over the holidays, so yeah, I'd be very curious to see that.
No, you'll be like, it'll be something we can have some interesting talks about that.
Yeah.
Sort of similar to what we've done before with the Russell Williams stuff. But yeah,
if you haven't watched Hannibal, the first couple of seasons definitely are worth watching.
I found that too dark, which coming from me seems a little bit odd, but it was just too dark. It was like there was just no kind of...
I think you become acclimatized to it by about halfway through the first season, and that's why I was quite disappointed the first couple of episodes of the third season, because there was a lot of imagery, like blood dripping from taps that wasn't really blood, it was water, and I was like, it's just unnecessary. We know he eats people. It was kind of cooler at the beginning when it was more implied and not seen.
Yeah, and he had kind of he has a twisted sense of humour, doesn't he, Hannibal?
Oh, he's a very good actor, Mads Mikkelsen. He's very watchable.
To be fair, I like Mads Mikkelsen as an actor. I thought he was great in Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, which I know you really enjoy, Adam, don't you?
I've never seen any Star Wars, so you know that.
You girl. And I couldn't. But when I was watching Hannibal, I couldn't tell a word he was fucking saying. I don't know why. I just couldn't understand what he was saying.
Well, yeah, no. I enjoyed the first couple of seasons. It was good fun. I think it actually has a couple of the producers from Buffy the Vampire Slayer working on it, so I kind of was familiar with the format. So it was because I don't mind admitting, I'm a big Buffy and Angel fan, or I was at the time. I actually think that's some of the best television ever made.
But, you know, it's funny you should say that, because every so often I do like a Google search and the greatest TV shows ever, and obviously you get the obvious ones like Breaking Bad, Simpsons, and then Buffy's always up there.
But it is because if you go back and watch it now, the special effects and stuff look very dated. But it really dealt with some quite dark and difficult topics. I mean, there's one season that deals with rape, and I found some of that hard watching. They cut a lot out because they used to show it on BBC Two at 6:15 PM on like a Tuesday evening. Of course, once it got to the season with the rape, like the episodes were meant to be 45 minutes long, and they were cut down to like 22 minutes. It was quite odd.
Right, jeez. Yeah, I can't see myself ever going back and watching that, but I'll have to trust people that it is very good. So make sure that's next on your list, Adam, if you can get the time. The Cannibal Cop.
Okay, I'll try and make
sure I check that out. I think it's on YouTube. It was on Sky Atlantic recently as well. Me and my mate watched it the other a few days ago. We both really enjoyed it.
So, any final conclusions on Arkangel before we move on to our second topic of the evening?
I think I'm going to watch it again because some things. I watched USS Callister again. Today, which I should have watched before we did the last stream again, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I think I'll watch this one again. But it was enjoyable. It was good. I suppose the fact that we've talked about it for 30 minutes and not really gone over everything, I suppose it says if we were watching an episode and there was nothing to talk about, then it'd be shit, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, for sure. I don't think there'll ever be an episode of Black Mirror that's not worthy of talking about. If people can make podcasts about every episode of The Walking Dead, then I think we can definitely easily do it about Black Mirror. No,
you're right, because there's a lot more. It's not just mindless violence, is it? There's supposed to be a purpose behind it. You're right. But on the whole, I enjoyed it. It kept me. The good thing about Black Mirror is usually a good episode. You're always wanting, you never get bored, you always want to know what's going to happen because you're always expecting a little bit of a shock or a twist or something dark. So it's very, very intriguing. That's why it's one of my favourite shows, because it's got a blend of everything that I like. I like me sci-fi, I like the future and gadgets and technology, and I like dark themes as well. So it pretty much has got everything that I enjoy out of the medial entertainment.
Well, yeah, I can't disagree with that. It's a great
anything
show.
Else that you can summarise with the show?
Well, like I said, I think the overall point is just don't mollycoddle too much. And yeah,
Johnny Utah just said you guys should think of a Black Mirror plot that revolves around Lorne.
Oh Jesus! Well, the man who always gets catfished, something like that.
That's yeah. We always try and go these streams without mentioning him, but it would be. The thing is, you wouldn't even need to change the plot of what happens, would you? The twist would be he gets caught by perverted, Chris Hansen. But anyway, we'll leave that there.
Yeah. So the next thing that we were going to talk about this evening, a lot more light-hearted than Black Mirror, is the movie that I advised you to watch, that you've watched this evening, which is, of course, and hopefully a few people in the chat will know of this movie, is, of course, The Room.
Yes. As I was explaining before we started recording, I was actually looking for something to watch tonight. Oh, cheap. What was all that about? When they're in the fucking room at the... Oh, my God. I was like, this can't... That was the moment when I thought, this can't be a real... It can't be a serious movie.
I don't think I want to play football in a tuxedo. Cheap.
But it was calling him like a chicken, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But do chickens go cheap?
I don't know.
I don't think they do.
Well, there's a theory behind why they were all told to do that. Because you know that Tommy Wiseau, the writer and director and star of the movie, he is, they believe he's of Eastern European descent. And apparently in somewhere like Poland or Ukraine or something, this is a very common thing to do, to call someone a coward.
Right, okay. But they didn't think that the rest of us wouldn't pick up on that.
Well, no, I don't think... Well, if you've watched the movie, I don't think he expected anyone to... I think he expected everyone to understand it all, but no one did because it was so weird.
Oh, it was magnificence in its stupidity. I've never seen anything quite like it. It was just... I don't think you could make a movie as bad as that if you tried. I think it's kind of like the modern equivalent of Shakespeare, but shit. So it's a shit. How can I put this? I'm trying to articulate it.
Well,
so
actually,
you've got shit.
I see your comparison with Shakespeare, because he did do kind of weird shit like that, like try and just write really bad plays and things. But I don't think Tommy Wiseau ever had any idea he was trying to write something to be so bad. I think he thought this was going to be a masterpiece.
Well, this is why I'm making the comparison with Shakespeare, right? Shakespeare, when he wrote what he wrote, he didn't write it because he's thinking, I'm going to be the biggest playwright there's ever been and I'm a genius. He did it because that's him. That was him portraying creativity on paper and then onto a play. He was just being himself and his talent was coming through. With him, it's the same thing, but yet Shakespeare was studied as being masterpieces of art. His could be seen from the same way, but so bad that it should be studied on how not to make a movie. Because you can learn so much, because I found it entertaining and sort of, I've got a good idea to make a movie now, because I'll just do what he didn't. I'll just do everything the opposite of what he did. Do you know, nothing made sense. The script was just ridiculous. There was no plot. The characters didn't make any sense. The dynamics in the relationships were just totally bizarre in the extreme. The settings were terrible. The camera work was appalling.
Well, all the backdrops are just fake backdrops.
Yeah, and the lip sync as well. That bit where, as Billy's just said there, he's going, I did not hit her in the face. Oh, hi, Mark.
I did not hit her. I did not. It's bullshit. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
And like, at the end where they're at, like, she throws that party for him, right? She throws the party for him, and then they're like getting it on couch, her and that Mark, and then all of a sudden they're like dead shocked when someone walks in. It's like, oh my God, we've been caught. What are we gonna do? You know. Oh, it was and the bit like where they're having that conversation before he tragically dies at the end. Spoiler alert. They're having that conversation where his mate goes, I don't even like him anymore. Have you seen the way he's reacted? He's just found out his missus is having an affair with his best mate. What do you want him to do? And she's like, what that other guy says to him, he says like, you know, if Mark finds out about this, this could ruin your friendship. No shit. Sorry, if Johnny finds out about this, I think your friendship's over. Do you think so?
The best bit in it is when Mark goes, they have that sort of super weird conversation where they're like, oh, girls, you never know these days, girls are strange, or something like that. And then he goes, I knew this one girl, she was seeing 8 guys. He beat her up so bad she ended up in a hospital on Guerrero Street. And then the main guy, Tommy Wiseau, just goes, ha 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 ha. Great story, Mark. What?
What about that when they're sat in the cafe and he's talking to that guy? I don't think it's that Mark. I think it's that other guy, and he's going, yeah, so such and such a thing. And then randomly he goes, so how's the sex life?
Yeah. Oh, and that's just before the bit where you have to listen to like 4 people make their orders in the coffee shop. They're just like, what do you want? Coffee. Do you want some cheesecake? No, thanks. What do you want? Vanilla latte. Do you want some cheesecake? Yeah, I'll have some peach, thanks. And it just goes on and on. You're like, what the fuck is this?
Oh, there's like where a mum comes in. That Lisa's mum comes into the apartment or wherever it is, and she sits down and she's like, okay, I think you should do this, and I think you should, and I'm all right. And she just talks consistently for fucking 5 minutes and says, right, I gotta go now, but you've only just knocked on the door, look. Like, okay. So she goes, and then that Lisa's on the phone to her friend, I'm sick of my mum trying to control my life, I'm just gonna do what I want to do. She only said, don't do that.
It's the mum as well. I've got breast cancer. Don't worry about it. And then never mentioned again.
There's just too many bits to there's too many bits to remember. It was just one great one-liner after the other. And
I'm drunk. I'm wasted. I love you, darling.
Oh, but that bit at the end where, like, he's dead because he shoots himself, and then that Mark's going, this is all your fault, look what you've done, I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm like, hang on a minute, you were fucking, you had a big part in this, believe it or not, my friend.
Oh, man. It's just a masterclass.
Get another beer, Adam.
All right, yeah. Well, yeah, guys, I'm sorry if anyone in the chat, if you haven't seen The Room yet, you really need to watch The Room. It is a masterclass in terrible filmmaking. And hey, Stefan. And yes, I recently watched The Disaster Artist, which is fantastic, and the book as well. I read the book first, and the book is brilliant. So you guys, you need to watch the book. Watch the book and read the movie. That's what you need to do. But yeah, the thing is, the story behind the movie is what makes it now so enigmatic, because it's crazy, and yet still no one really knows anything behind the guy who made it, Tommy Wiseau, who apparently paid a hell of a lot of money. Yeah, the film and the book, The Disaster Artist. The book is really good because you see it all through the eyes of the guy that played Mark, Greg Sestero. So it's very interesting to actually get some of his backstory and see how this ended up. But he turned out to be like Tommy Wiseau's best friend, and yeah, that's how he ended up being in this movie. But okay, good.
Straight away, I was thinking this is going to be a weird movie because that bizarre orphan boy that didn't seem to make any sense.
Denny.
He says, "Oh, I like watching you two. Like, what's going on here? Is he their son? Is he their adopted son? But he likes watching them and he jumps in bed with them. What the fuck is going on?"
Well, random people just go to their apartment, like that guy.
That random guy just turns up for no reason. Well, what the fuck's he doing? It's like an episode of Neighbours.
That couple just turns up, and then like she looks as if she's going down on him, and he makes the weirdest face in the world. It's fucking creepy as hell. You're like, does this sort of smile while puffing his cheeks out, doesn't he? And then you don't even know why this guy is in the movie whatsoever.
Oh, it's just fucking weird. But what's that guy's name? He's like that strange orphan boy, which doesn't seem to.
Denny.
Denny. He doesn't. He just doesn't seem to make any sense at all, does it? Like what?
He gets in trouble for drugs at one point, and a guy comes and points a gun at his head and demands money. And then Johnny and Mark turn up and save the day in a really odd fashion. Like, he's got a gun, they're just like, come on, you're coming to the police station. And then that's it, and it's never mentioned again. Oh, and then the mum of Johnny's wife, who I don't think had even ever met Denny before, starts going mental, going, why are you doing drugs? Why are you doing drugs?
Oh, what about that though? Where that he's just having a normal conversation with him at one point, saying, and then the next minute he's holding a gun to him, and he's going, "Give me the money, give me the money, give me the money," and he's saying it repeatedly, and then that Lisa goes, "What is it that he's after?"
Well, you see that guy, who was named Chris R, the drug dealer, and apparently Denny, he was told he could only refer to him as Chris R. Like, he was like, well, I can't just call him Chris. There's no one else called Chris in the script. And Tommy Wiseau was like, no, Chris R sounds more badass or whatever. You've got to call him Chris R. But that guy was the only guy, apparently, that walked away from the movie with like an ounce of credibility or acting talent left in him. And he was the only one who had no type of acting before, no type of acting credit or any interest before. He was like a friend of a friend who was big, so he got asked to play the drug dealer. And apparently,
so you're telling me that the other people in it actually had acting experience?
yeah, apparently so. You need to watch the movie The Disaster Artist, because there's kind of a really or read the book. But the lady who played Lisa's mum, she was a very sweet lady, and she'd kind of like been grafting all her life, but had always wanted to be in a movie.
I mean, she did a reasonable job. It weren't really her fault, and a lot of what her character said didn't make much sense. It was bizarre as well how Lisa. I'm trying to look at it from a genuine film point of view now, which is a bit of an error in itself, but one minute she hates Johnny, the next minute she likes him but feels sorry for him, next minute he's the most evil man that's ever walked the face of the earth, next minute she's with him but kind of isn't with him, the next minute she's in love with that other guy but then isn't. It's just fucking weird. There's just... Did he actually sit down and write a plot to it, or was it just... It's like he just came in pissed one night and just came up with some drunken script that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. I think it took him more than a night. I think because he's quite a strange guy, Tommy Wiseau, the guy behind it. Like, he's very enigmatic, and he's got a hell of a lot of money apparently. So he funded and wrote this whole thing. That's why at the start you'll see it says director Tommy Wiseau, writer Tommy Wiseau, starring Tommy Wiseau. And rather than just give himself one credit, he demanded he had separate credits for each thing.
It's a little bit like reading one of Lorne Armstrong's lawsuits, right? You read that, and that's how not to do a lawsuit. You watch this, and this is how not to make a movie.
Yeah, but here's something to sort of sink your teeth into, though. Like, this guy, he's intelligent enough to have earned millions of dollars to fund this movie.
Oh, yeah, but you could earn millions. Like, I could earn millions, let's say, making a business, which isn't going to happen because I can't be arsed. And I could do something like record an album, and it could be the worst thing that's ever been created. Just because someone's talented in one area or knowledgeable or can make money doesn't mean that they're any good at making films, does it?
Well, no, of course. He wasn't any good at making films at all, was he? He was appalling at making films.
But is it a bit like someone who just had a load of money and thought, I really want to make a movie, and just put it all together and thought, let's see how this turns out, but having no experience whatsoever, no idea what he was going to do, no one with any kind of creative insight around him to tell him. I mean, I don't even get what the purpose of the film was. It's just about a guy who gets cheated on and then shoots himself. I mean, is that it?
Well, I think
there is no baby.
I mean,
I told him that to make it interesting. What was all that about?
They just throw up any kind of like really serious plot line at any point and never follow it through.
He said, "Are you going to tell him that you're not pregnant?" "No, I don't think so." "Well, he's going to find out eventually, isn't he?"
Yeah, 9 months later, where's that fucking baby?
Hang on a minute, weren't you pregnant?
Yeah. But he's
That to make it interesting.
it was very much, I believe, a vanity project. By a guy who thought. I mean, he paid. I think most people know this, but maybe you wouldn't yet, Andy. But he paid to have it kept in cinemas for 2 extra weeks out of his own pockets because it has to have a run of at least 6 weeks. The first time it was ever shown, it has to have a run of at least 6 weeks to be considered for Oscar nomination. So he paid out of his own pocket to keep it in the cinemas for Oscar nomination. Of course, it wasn't nominated for any Oscars. And in fact, when it first came out, like people were walking out within the first 20 minutes demanding their money back from most screenings of it.
So it actually made it to some cinemas. It wasn't just a straight to TV
release. He had a billboard for over a year with his face on it in Los Angeles, advertising the room, and it had a phone number you could call to get tickets, which was his home phone number.
What was the purpose of the title as well?
Well, it's meant to be, and that's something that seems very sort of oddly normal, but it doesn't seem to be in this movie. It's meant to be because most of the action happens in one room. I think to an extent that's supposed to explain the reason that all these random people come and go from the same apartment building. But it's not all in one room. There's been movies I've seen all set in one room, or nearly all set in one room. Like, for example, The Hateful Eight is nearly all in one room, isn't it? And that's a great movie. But he called it a title, like saying, yeah, it's all in a room, but it's not. It's not.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, because some of it was, in his bedroom. It was, the bizarre sex scenes were, and then you've got some of it in that other apartment, and then some of it where they're throwing that football around on the roof for some bizarre reason, which didn't seem to. What about that bit where he puts that tape in that tape machine and it gets stuck, and they didn't bother to cut that part out? It's just did they not do any editing in that film?
Can I just say, Steph in the chat has said he ordered a copy of The Room from Tommy Wiseau himself. It came signed by Tommy Wiseau, wishing him eternal happiness. And that's the thing with Tommy Wiseau, his money, you don't know where it's come from, and it's very suspicious, but he comes across as a guy, if you actually listen to him, who very much advocates love and peace, and it seems like he'd be a nice guy, just a bit lonely, I think. A lonely guy with lots of money who decided to put that into making one of the worst films ever made. Best worst films ever made.
Yeah, it's a bit of an enigma, isn't it? It's like, I thoroughly enjoyed every minute of that film. I was kind of glued to it for all the wrong reasons, even when it got shit. Because there was a bit where, you're just thinking, can please something happen?
Oh, but have a few beers and watch it with someone else, and it's fucking amazing. And I guess that's its appeal, though, because they have midnight screenings where loads of people turn up to watch it, and
he's created a lot of joy with that movie, hasn't he?
I think he has, yeah. You can't deny that. It's so bad, it's good. And do you think... Okay, this is a little bit of a existential question.
I don't even know what that word means, but carry on.
Okay.
Okay.
But do you think it would bring as much joy if he had intended it in this way? Because although now his persona, he does intend it to be comedic, he never did. He thought this was a serious movie, which I think makes it all the funnier.
Of course. It goes without saying, doesn't it? It's kind of like, for him to stand up and maybe have a bit of fun, it shows that I think he's you'd think he'd be quite a decent, open-minded, strong character, because some people might think, Jesus Christ, I've created the worst film in history, and then they want to hide away forever. But if you embrace it and you say, yeah, I made a film, it was shit, but everybody's enjoying it, it's kind of like there's nothing wrong with that, is there?
No, there's not, and he's doing that now. But apparently, there was quite a lot of weird things going on set in the room, and apparently he did to an extent. And this, you need to read the book because I'm not really sure what's going on with Tommy Wiseau's sexuality throughout the whole thing, and it's not like a poignant topic, but like they sort of say like he got lots of women to come in and audition for Lisa and to get naked and pretend to do sex scenes with him and things. At the same time, the book is written, and I'm not sure if this is just because it's from Greg Sestero's point of view, but he almost does that as like a reaction to Greg getting a girlfriend and like having to prove his masculinity to him or something. I'm not sure. But apparently he wasn't particularly nice to anyone on set, and he got his own toilet put in for no one else but him. And in the movie, it's briefly shown, but it's not gone into detail like the amount of problems that caused, like it is in the book. I would advise anyone who's watched The Room really to read the book of the Disaster Artist because it's a fantastic book.
It'll be the next purchase I make. Well, book-wise, anyway.
Yeah.
I might buy some food first.
Well, yeah, if you need food, that would be a good idea.
You know, I'm trying to like. I remember as I was watching it because I knew we were going to talk about it later. I kept in my mind trying to remember. I must remember to bring that line up, but then another one had come, and you forget about it, and then another one, and another one. There's so many great liners and the lines that didn't make any sense and bizarre angles that the camera was looking for. And there was a bit where someone opened the door in that same room again, and the camera was shaking like the cameraman had fell over or something. I'm like, why didn't they just reshoot that part?
Did you know it's the only film to ever be filmed on both 8mm and digital camera?
Right. Why is that? Just because they fucked up with their equipment?
No, because Tommy Wiseau was mental. He went into the place to buy the cameras, and he wanted. Oh no, it was his idea. He was like, I want it to be shot on both 8mm and digital, and they were like, well, you're only going to put one to production, so why would you want it shot on both? And he was like, don't question me. I want it shot on both. And he also before we started streaming and talking about this, you asked me. I told you that movie cost more than $6 million to make, and you said, how is that possible? Because he bought all the equipment. The normal standard in Hollywood is to go to a large camera firm and rent the cameras for the duration of filming. He bought every piece of equipment used throughout the making of the film.
So he will have been incredibly rich then, wouldn't he? I mean, he just used $6 million of his own money to fund the film.
Yeah.
So
I think it took something around the region of $1,500 on its opening weekend.
It took $1,500.
Yeah.
But how much money has it made up to now because of its cult following?
Well, now it's actually broken even. I think it may well even be in profit, but that's due to all the late night screenings, and he does a lot of personal appearances. Both Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero, they go and push it a lot, and now I think he's actually made a profit from it.
Unbelievable.
Well, I mean, he's got a movie where James Franco plays him.
Yeah, I mean, he must have got some royalties for that, but obviously that wouldn't be part of the profits that the original films made because you would only count that on its takings as an actual film. But obviously,
But yeah, at the time he spent $6 million on making it, with never knowing if he would see a penny of it back.
I can understand that though. If you've got to buy all the equipment yourself, all the cameras and the editing.
Well, you didn't have to buy it though. The thing is, if you rent it, it tends to be a better deal because people from Hollywood will send their cameraman and stuff with it to make sure the equipment's not abused. But he bought it, but the guys still agreed to help him out with being the cameraman and such.
Well, I don't think he had a cinematographer there because there didn't seem to be any decent shots.
Oh no,
there is that bit on the roof.
Seth Rogen portrays the guy who was the cinematographer in the movie of it, in The Disaster Artist. But
Oh,
yeah,
there was one. Jesus,
he
John.
didn't last till the end of the filming. Halfway through, the whole staff was sacked.
Right, that doesn't. Yeah, that's. I can't wait to read this book. That bit on the roof where they're all throwing the ball around, and there's 3 of them, and the third one's not even on the shot. I'm like, why don't you just move the camera to the right a little bit? Because it was just fucking weird.
I think very much it was a vanity project that then was rushed on screen, and they probably could have done a lot better with the editing and dubbing and stuff. But I think he was a very demanding guy, Tommy Wiseau.
The thing is, though, let's look at this logically, right? The plot of the film is, the basic plot, whether drunk or not, is a guy who seemingly has quite a bit going on in his life, has a crazy girlfriend cheats on him with best friend, and he ends up shooting himself. Now, that's not really a great plot. However, if you trimmed that down and you got rid of all the unnecessary scenes, you could probably have that storyline within 25 minutes. It'd be just like a quick episode of the fucking The Rich and the Horny or something like that, you know what I mean? Or whatever it used to be called.
Well, this is the weird thing. Although the guy's quite rich, I don't think in the movie he was meant to play someone who was particularly... I mean, his job is mentioned, and it's really odd, isn't it? Like,
I still don't know what he does.
He's a banker of some sort, and he's like, I'm going to get a promotion, but it's never mentioned again. I'm like, there's a scene with him, I think it's the coffee shop scene, and he's like, oh, they've told me some secrets or something like that, and then they never mention these secrets again. It's just another one of the sort of storylines that starts but never finishes, and the only main story is, yeah, guy's girlfriend cheats on him, he kills himself so that the world can see, and then... And the last scene in it, it's like a schoolboy wanting to watch his own funeral, isn't it? Like everyone, oh, I'm so sorry, Johnny. Oh my God, it's fucking insane. Oh, and yet brilliant.
Yeah, yeah, he never got his promotion as well.
Yeah,
it was just. What was weird is how at the beginning they were so in love, weren't they? It was like watching a soft porn movie, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere she just decided that she didn't like him anymore because he didn't get that promotion. She like says to her mum, "Oh, he didn't get that promotion. He's a fucking bastard. I'm gonna cheat on him with his best friend. That'll show him."
It's a cinematic masterpiece of the worst kind.
Stefan's just ordered the book.
Oh, you won't regret it, Steph.
I don't think I'm going to be too far behind you, Stefan. I think I'll get on Amazon as soon as we're done.
Listen to this, Andy. I've read 3 books in the last month. I'm an intellectual now.
Jesus, right. I'm reading 3 books simultaneously at the minute. Not at the same time, like...
Yeah, what, Razzle, Fiesta and Penthouse?
Well... Nothing wrong with that, is there?
Well, no, true. But that's not reading, that's wanking.
That's true. But yeah, you're right.
We got literally nothing to say back to that. Not, oh, no, these are real books. Just literally, that's it. You are reading pornography.
Well, that's a side project, but I am actually reading normal books. Not when I say 3 books, I don't mean at any one time I'm sat there reading them all simultaneously. I mean, there's 3 I'm halfway through at the minute. One of them's a Star Wars book, so it's not exactly Shakespeare.
Comic.
No, it's a book. It's not. I read the Star Wars novels, but we don't need to get into that because people start taking piss out of me.
Yeah.
Not that they haven't been doing anyway, but you know. One is called A Parenthesis in Eternity. The other is called The Dark Lords of the Sith. And the other is called Righting My Wrongs, which is about a guy in prison who got done for murder and ended up having like spiritual enlightenment. It's very good.
Oh, that reminds me of the Chris Morris short, My Wrongs 2487 and My Wrongs Something Else with Paddy Considine. That's a brilliant 7 minutes. If you ever have 7 minutes to watch something, watch that.
Hmm. So, is there any other one-liners, Amelia? Because you seem to be rattling quite. Has she seen it more than like once? Because she seems to know the
Whoa,
quotes quite well.
I know Amelia's seen it at least once, and she just must have a good memory.
Yeah, well, I don't. I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah. But yeah, the room is fantastic, and yeah, Andy should take some time to read The Disaster Artist and watch the movie. The movie's good too.
Yeah, I think I'll take your advice. I think I'll start reading the book first, but I'll probably I'll kill you, you bastard, Matt. You couldn't kill me if you tried. Johnny, you betrayed me. You're not good. You're just a chicken. Chip, 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 chip.
I love the way Cheap Cheap comes in friendly and aggressive situations. You can use Cheap Cheap at any point. It's like you say to me, "Oh, do you want to go out tonight?" No, I'd rather just chill and watch TV. Cheap, 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 cheap. Oh, all right, let's go out. I fucked your girlfriend. Did you? I'm going to fight you. Cheap, 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 cheap.
Oh dear. Oh, what about that word? That fucking what's he called? What's that bizarre orphan fella called again?
Denny.
Denny comes up to me and says, "I've got something to tell you. I'm in love with your wife.
Oh yeah.
Whenever I see her in her red dress, I just want to kiss her and make love to her." And then he's just like, "Oh right, okay."
Yeah.
Next minute, he's like,
Lisa
"We kind of
loves
see
you
you
as a friend.
Hang on a minute.
Lisa loves you as a friend, as do I, Denny. It's okay because apparently I think basically the movie it's supposedly to some extent semi-autobiographical, and I believe at some point a woman really dicked over Tommy Wiseau, but his understanding of humans was not sufficient to write about it properly, so he ended up writing this thing where everyone wants to bang his girlfriend, which he's okay with, but not if they do bang her.
Do you want me to order pizza? Whatever, I don't care. I already ordered pizza. You think about everything.
Anything for my princess.
Wouldn't it be funny if there was someone in the world who watched that and like actually thought, I really enjoyed that. That was a good movie.
And the amount of times he just laughs at nothing. Great story, Mark.
Did you get the promotion? No, you didn't get it, did you? Well, he just told you that.
Oh.
It's like if you go on IBDM or whatever it is, and you look at the quotes, it's like pages and pages of the quotes that are funny. It's virtually every other line, isn't it? Because nothing makes sense. Because I think what it is it's like a 6-year-old's been asked to make a movie. He's not thought about what kind of a decent plot would make a good movie. He's not thought about his characters, so he doesn't. His characters are just. They're not characters. They're just people with a name that spout mindless shit. He's not thought about what each person, what the point of them is, and what they're like as a person. He's not thought about like any kind of plot threads. He's not thought about like any emotion that it's going to stir in people or any message. It's just. I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he wasn't thinking.
Well, no, I think it's very much a schoolboy's fantasy of a movie. Like, oh, everyone should like me, but they don't. Oh no, I'm gonna kill myself. Oh, look what you've done! I've killed myself. That's literally what it is. I don't think there's any deeper meaning to it than that. And he's tried to bring in other plot lines, but they just haven't happened. Like, he's tried to make it about more serious topics, realising, well, this is not enough for a movie. Why don't I just write every cliche to everything ever? We'll have a bit of breast cancer in there. We'll have a drug deal gone wrong. We'll just,
drug deal gone wrong. You don't really find much about that, do you?
You find less out about the breast cancer. I mean, her mum says, I've got breast cancer. Don't worry about it. Okay, excellent. Fucking hell. I could be a doctor tomorrow if that's how it works.
This is a good one. Where that Denny goes, I got something to tell you. It's about Lisa. And Johnny goes, go on. She's beautiful. She looks great in her red dress, and I think I'm in love with her. And then he goes, go on.
Go on.
I think that does it get any more shocking than that? Your stepson, your adopted son.
It's not his stepson. It's just some boy that lives in the same apartment that he funds.
No, but he's kind of like a. This is what I mean. You can't figure out the dynamics of that relationship. It's like he's taking him on as his kind of son in a way, because he kind of sees him as a father figure, but yet he likes watching him in bed.
Yeah, it's such an odd world of people. Oh.
Everybody betrayed me. I'm fed up with this world.
And what's with the what's with
the roof? Whether on the roof on that guy's phone, he sees that guy's phone mark and that Lisa at it, and he goes, "You two need to sort this out." And then he goes, "You should keep your stupid comments to yourself."
No, you should keep your stupid comments in your pocket.
It's like, all he said was, "I think you two are wrong." It's like, well, yeah.
But you
keep
should
your stupid comments in your pocket.
In your pocket, like what the fuck? Like, yeah, I keep all my best comments in my pocket. I'm just gonna have a look now. Oh yeah. Oh, you're tearing me apart, Lisa. Let's come. You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
Oh, that was good. Where that random guy goes, who pops up every now and again. Oh, I have to go to Michelle in a little bit to make out with her.
Oh, that guy. And when he goes, he's telling the story. Johnny makes him tell it. He's like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. Johnny's like, come on, I need to know the story. And he's like, yeah, well, your mother-in-law and your wife were there, and then me and whatever her name was, we left, and then I had to come back because I forgot me underwears. And I'm like, why the fuck does he suddenly go into 1930s London street urchin? I forgot me underwears, governor. It's like, what?
Oh my fucking god. As far as I'm concerned, you can drop off the earth. That's a promise. What?
Oh man. So, do you know, because it's on YouTube, I'm sure we'd get copyrighted for it, but we should just do a reaction video and just watch the whole of the room with everyone in the chat. And
oh, that'd be brilliant. There must be a way that we can get around that. You know, if we use like a miniaturized screen of it, because isn't there some, like, if you use like a smaller screen, it avoids like copyright, doesn't it?
well, there's some weird thing with reaction videos that you can get around copyright if you're reviewing it or parodying it or making fun of it to an extent, but I'm not sure how that works.
I'll do a bit of googling. Has anybody got any idea in the chat how we can go around that? Because it wouldn't be to reaction video fair use, as Skeletons just said.
Yeah.
I think we might get away with it. But that'd be so funny. That'd be just brilliant. After a few beers, we'll have to both have a few beers as well.
Yeah.
That'd be really good. But we just have to like do the sharing. Yeah, that's we'll do that. And everybody that's joining in on the stream will be able to. We'll have to make sure they can see it as well. But there'll be a bit of we'll sort something out, won't we? We'll see if we can figure it out.
I'm sure we can work it out. I mean, as long as we don't get blocked or banned for it, it doesn't matter if it's not monetized. I mean,
well, the thing is, though, we've got to be careful because if you get a strike, you'll have your streaming privileges removed. Like
I don't get strikes. I never bully or harass anyone.
I know, but apparently I do.
Well,
do you not get strikes for a copyright?
No, well, I know with music you don't. You just you're not able to monetize it. So I don't know if it's the same if we actually showed the room whilst watching it. But that would be a cool idea for maybe a weekend afternoon where we can both have a few beers and watch the room with everyone in the chat. Yeah,
that'd be brilliant. Be careful of nudity scenes. Oh yeah. He's got a point there.
Oh shit! I hadn't even thought. Well, no, it would have to be age restricted, but I don't think that would be a huge problem because I watched.
Well,
The
what we
Room
could
on
do is when that bit comes on, we can just get rid of that part, can't we?
Well, there's a
When the
few
nudity
bits.
I think there's like 3 times. I counted them.
Yeah, well, I think we need to also take out the bits with Tommy Wiseau's arse because that's pretty disturbing.
Worst case scenario, stream is blocked afterwards. He's got a point there actually, because it's unlikely it's going to be taken down while we're doing it. As long as people are in it and we're having the laugh then. Do you get what I mean?
Well, we should do that. We should do a live room YouTube screening. You heard that here first, people. People do it at cinemas, but we're going to do it by the medium of internet.
Yes, and it'll be good.
It'll be the best thing you've ever watched.
Yeah. Well, we're going to schedule the stream for like 3 weeks before it happens.
Yeah,
then
Andy will be a week late.
What?
Then you'll be a week late to it.
A week late?
Yeah, you'll be like, oh, we scheduled it 3 weeks before. It doesn't matter if I'm a week late.
Yeah, well, from that point of view, we'll probably save our rest of our jokes and talking about it until we do that, and then we're not wearing it out.
That's a good idea, and I need to go and get a new beer soon. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. Well, we can just talk about something else if you're getting another beer, because I'm going to go and get another one.
Well, yeah, I'm happy to keep streaming. I mean, if you're happy to keep talking bollocks, we can talk about anything you want to talk about.
Let's see what's in the news today.
Why don't you just see if you can entertain people for 3 minutes while I go and point the pink pistol at the porcelain.
Yeah, you do that. Thanks for giving us. So, anybody that is listening now that hasn't seen The Room, that's your task. I think pretty much. Is there anybody that hasn't seen it that's in the chat? Could you let us know? I know that most of the people have that we're talking to. And could also talk about how your new year is going so far. Okay. Can anybody let me know of any equally shite movies that I can enjoy? Which I never thought I'd hear myself saying. Oh, Terry, right. So next, you need to watch it for this. Well, obviously for the stream. Well, I mean, you could watch it with us, couldn't you? Did you mention Black Mirror at any point? We did for the first half an hour, Steph. Should I post a link to The Room on YouTube? I can't see any reason why not. Is it going to be a link to like an illegal download? I don't think it'll matter in a live chat anyway. Well, not an illegal download, but one of them streaming sites.
You know, gay rapists.
I don't know any personally, but crack on.
Oh, you ruined my joke.
I got you.
You meant to go, yeah, and I was going to go, oh, I'm sorry, man, I hope you're okay.
What would Tommy Wiseau have said if James Franco let him finish talking during the Golden Globes?
Apparently he was going to say, I read this, sorry to be a nerd, but he was going to say, if everyone loves everyone, the world would be a better place.
Oh yeah, he did say that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Stefan's just said The Troll is apparently on par with The Room.
What, that's a movie?
I thought he was talking about that Troll movie that's like cartoons. I'm just going to go and get a beer.
Right, okay. Steph, I will need to check that out if it is on a par to A Room. If it's anything like Funny Man, though, I don't think I would need to see that movie again. A movie where a man puts his whole head up a lady's vagina is not my idea of a good afternoon.
Sorry, why were you mentioning vaginas?
The movie that Steph mentioned earlier, Funny Man, To me and Steph, it holds a place in both our hearts because it was filmed just. In fact, there's a part that was on the M40 motorway, which is the motorway between Oxford and London, where we both grew up on the M40 Bible Belt. Well, not Bible Belt, just the M40 belt. So we can sit and go, oh yeah, we've been on that motorway. But funny man, it's a pretty fucked up movie where at one point a man puts his whole head inside a lady's vagina.
Right. Sounds cracking.
Yeah, not in a fun way, like in Bottom, where they pretend to be up her Madge's vag. That's if you've seen Bottom, because I've just realised the title of that show it fucks you up a bit because it doesn't sound like a show. It's a TV show with Rick Mayall and Aid Edmondson called Bottom. And do you remember that?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, it was great.
Oh, okay,
Classic.
Good. Yeah. In fact,
Yeah, well, I was a huge Young Ones fan when I was a kid, and that's a natural, not a sequel, but a natural
progression.
Sort of,
yeah. Well, it had
yes.
The majority of the Young Ones in it, didn't it? Well, it had, of course, Rick Mayall and Aid Edmondson, but occasionally the other guys made appearances too.
Aid Edmondson is still ticking away, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Rick Mayall, of course, God rest his soul, or if there is a God, someone rest his soul, passed away. But yeah, Aid he's gone all kind of normal and posh. He does a lot of the narration for BBC programmes and stuff now.
Yeah, the Moors on BBC and all that kind of stuff. Filthy Rich and Flat Cap.
Oh yeah, that was another one of the Rick Mayall Edmondson things, but it wasn't quite as that had Alexi Sale was in the Young Ones as well, wasn't he? But I think Filthy Rich and Cat Flap had Alexi Sale as well.
Yeah, I used to watch Alexi Sale's.
I used to enjoy Alexi Sale when I was younger. It's I can't remember it now. I just remember my parents used to put on the Alexi Sale show. I'd be like, oh, this is good.
Yeah, I used to like all that stuff because I remember at that age when it was coming out, I used to get a buzz off watching things with swear words in it and the odd bit of nudity because that's what happened when you were like 10 and stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, Bottom, I don't think had any nudity. It was just fucking brilliant. I mean, the Gas Man episode is just amazing. I think it's the second episode they ever made. And it's one of my favourite pieces of comedy ever, where it's just like, they've been stealing gas from their neighbours by putting a pipe through to their house, and the gas man comes to the door, and Richie answers the door. He's like, hello, can I help you? And he's like, yeah, I'm here to check the gas. He's like, gas man! Gas man! Gas man! Like, trying to tell Richie the gas man's there, but the gas man just looks at him and goes like, do you have someone that looks after you?
I like the bit where they try and win that money in that race, and like they bet all the money on that horse, and like the commentator on the race gun said it's really sporting of them to let a blind three-legged horse win the race, and they now they've had to shoot it.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking brilliant. I think it's the same one where he's trying to place the bet. What's Aid Edmondson's character called again?
Eddie.
Eddie's trying to place that, but Sad Ken, that was it. Sad Ken. He's trying to place that bet. And he says, such and such a thing on Sad Ken, please. And he goes, would you like to pay tax on that? And he goes, well, of course I wouldn't. What a stupid question. Sad Ken. That's fucking brilliant. Oh dear. I like the one at Christmas where they're all sat there. There's that Hedgehog, isn't there? What's the other guy called?
Dave Hedgehog and Spudgun.
Spudgun. So why did they call you a Spudgun? What does he say? Find me a potato
and I'll show you. Oh no, the Christmas one is fucking brilliant though. We found a baby, and I've got a tea towel on my head, and I'm a virgin. I thought you said you weren't. Oh, I was just saying that to sound hunky. didn't work, did it?
Oh, brilliant! It's on Netflix, I think.
I don't know, but
I
yeah,
think.
that was a great series, Bottom. Those were the days. I grew up with that show.
Yeah.
That probably was the first proper comedy I got into after, like, of course, when I was a kid, I watched, like, the Two Ronnies with my parents. But yeah, then it was Bottom. And then I think that probably explains a lot about the kind of comedy I'm into, because Bottom really, but I mean, Bottom was fantastic because it had so much like vocal comedy, but there was the slapstick fighting elements as well. I don't think for at the time there could have been a more perfect like now these days, maybe because I'm a bit more older and have refined tastes, but I'm into a little bit more subtle comedy. But
Yeah, because when you're young, like I used to buzz off the young ones because you had like Vivian, who was just a total maniac who you didn't know what he was going to do, and he just like mindless violence, which was always funny. And Rick was just a total tosser, but he was so funny and well acted. And there was always like something. It's just the perfect TV series for a little kid when you're growing up because it's got everything.
when you know Ricky got near anything pervy as well, Richard, he's like.
It's a good impression, that.
Like the episode where he meets that woman, doesn't he? And she's claims to be like the ex-princess of some country or something like that. And so he gets Eddie to dress up as the butler. And then Eddie comes over and he's like, what? I can't remember the first thing he says, but he says like, "Oh, do you want a bit or something?" And Richie's like, "What?" He's like, "I'm just asking her if she wanted a portion." He's like, "What?" Oh, I can't even quote it properly, and I'm really drunk, but it was amazing.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, because then she's like, "Oh, I'm only trying." She tells Eddie, she's like, "I'm only sleeping with it because Richie's lied." And she's like, "I'm only sleeping with him for my money." And he's like, "Well, I've got a couple of quid flying around," and throws like 2 quid out of his pocket. But then he doesn't. Oh, that's it. Then Richie goes upstairs to get ready to make love to her, and he gets the book out to prepare because he doesn't know how. And he opens the book and he looks at the picture and he goes, "Oh, I haven't got time to grow a beard. Wait, that's not a beard. Oh!" And then she comes upstairs and he's like, "You need to give me a few minutes." Oh, so good. Bottom was amazing. Pork. Thank you, Skeleton Siski. He said it. Pork. Yeah. Eddie goes pork, and he goes, "What?" I only asked her if she wanted a portion. Oh man, that was a great show.
I think I'll have to rewatch some of those. I think. Yeah, I think they're all on Netflix. Just a quick random question to anybody that's in the stream: has anybody watched any of the many new shows that Netflix puts out every week, and are they any good?
Well, I believe that Ozark was a Netflix show of last year, and I really enjoyed that.
Oh, you did, didn't you? I've never got onto that. Yeah, I'm 2 episodes off finishing The Sinner, which is quite good, with Bill Pullman in it, and I've still not finished season 2 of Stranger Things yet.
I haven't even watched the first episode of Stranger Things. I know everyone was saying it's amazing.
You don't have Netflix? Good lord, I thought everybody did.
I don't have Netflix.
Why?
Why do I need it?
Sort of convenience, really.
I know some dodgy guys that can get anything off Netflix.
No, you're right. If you know how to use the internet, technically you don't need it. But it's just the It's just the convenience, I suppose. It only cost me £10 a month, and two of my friends steal it. Well, not steal it off me, but I give me passwords to two of my friends so they can use it and don't have to pay.
Well,
I think I gave it to you once, but you never used it.
Oh, maybe you did. Maybe you just went, yeah, to have my Netflix passwords. Like, I don't need it. Fucking have it. Now you owe me a favour, bitch.
I'll kill you. I'll kill all of you.
I thought you were just trying to spam fish me.
No, it's gone up to £10 a month, but I must say, right, without going on about this too much, I think Netflix is fucking amazing value for money, you know, like, the quality of entertainment you get on there but anyway, that's what I think. Does anybody else agree? Apart from Adam?
Well, yeah, no, you get decent shit on Netflix. I'm not saying. It's just Netflix were a bit cunty. When I moved to Spain, Netflix wasn't available in Spain, so I had to cancel the old account.
Right, you're going to hold that against them?
Well, yeah, they should have sorted it out. It's not like it's a third world country, is it?
No, I suppose not. But it's like changing the landscape of entertainment now, because I believe that Sky in the UK is suffering because of well, not suffering, but it's changed their intake and the profits because less people are turning to Sky for their entertainment. Whereas I used to have Sky. I used to have all the movies and sports and all that kind of thing. Don't even have it at all anymore. All I have is Netflix and broadband. That's all I need. Whereas Disney are bringing out their own streaming service. You've got Amazon. CBS in America have got one as well. So it's changing the way that people watch things, isn't it?
Yeah, true. I think that's the way of the future now, though, isn't it? It's like you just pay for a subscription. At least then you don't have adverts or anything. Well, you still do get some adverts on Netflix, though.
No, we don't. No.
Well, then, no. Fair. More power to them.
Yeah, I've never really thought about that. It's probably only a matter of time until maybe they do start sticking advertisements on it. But
I don't think they will, because people wouldn't pay the subscription if they do.
Or they could just charge people less to get more money. Because people have paid big bucks to advertise, I think.
Oh, actually, here's a topic, or something that I'd like to get your opinion on.
Do you want my opinion on something? Are you actually sane?
Not really. I'm quite drunk. I'm quite drunk, and we're just having some fun.
Right, fair enough.
But this was something I was thinking about earlier, because obviously with everything that's been happening with YouTube and them demonetizing videos and making it very difficult to make any money from. And I remember last year, probably early last year, I listened to a podcast and they were sort of talking about Patreon, and this one guy, and he was making his case to, he was making his case to Colossal is Crazy, a guy, you're aware of who, he hasn't released anything in ages, but he was one of my favourite YouTubers when he was around.
Yes, his stuff he's released is very good.
He did a lot of interesting and very well-made things. But yeah, he was on a podcast talking to Colossal, and he was sort of trying to justify using Patreon. And he actually really annoyed me, because he said, well, I use Patreon because without it, I wouldn't be able to feed my family and this sort of thing. And it really wound me up, because it's like, well, you shouldn't expect your subscribers to pay you for a living. Not if you're not making content that's completely amazing. And this guy, I think he had around sort of 50,000 to 60,000 subs, but he was very much pushing his Patreon in every video. And I wanted to know your moral opinion on, like, because for me, I was like, well, I'm quite happy to push my Patreon to say, well, if you enjoy the content, then I'd appreciate if you want to contribute, but if you can't, or you can't afford it, or whatever, that's fine. If you don't like the content, then, well, probably don't watch it. But the guy said, and he said to Colossal is Crazy, he was like, well, I need this to feed, I've got kids and a family, and I need this to feed my family. And for me, I found that very wrong. Like, if someone maybe had a large amount of subscribers but then wanted Patreon to maintain their family, I'd say go out and get yourself a proper real job.
I mean, so do you know he was being deliberately deceitful?
No, well, what do you mean? I don't think he was being deceitful.
So he genuinely needed that money to feed his family?
Yeah, but I'm sure there's loads of people out there that need their money to feed their family. They don't go on YouTube and beg for it.
It's funny you should bring that up because there's a guy. Have you ever heard of Collider Video?
It sounds familiar, but I'm not aware of it right
They do
now.
they're an American YouTube channel that sort of talk about movies. So they have a show every day that talks about movies and what's going on in the industry, and they have a Star Wars show every week, which is why I'm familiar with it. And one of the guys that isn't on there anymore that left has his own channel, and he promotes his Patreon and says that he wouldn't be able to do it without the Patreon thing. And he also has this thing called Super Chat that people can only ask questions to him directly if they pay.
Well, I have Super Chat turned on my main channel when I'm doing live streams, but and I went through a period last year where I get a few donations, but you don't unless you push it. And for me, I'm just as much as I appreciate it, I wouldn't push it to people. But if to make someone pay to even make a comment in the chat is a bit wrong.
Well, but is it though? Because I mean, on the surface of it, it sounds ridiculous. You have to pay to ask me a question. But from another point of view, if people want to pay that money, you're not forcing anybody into anything. To ask somebody a question about a movie, we're looking at that example. You know, some people are paying $10, some are paying like 20, some are paying $2. I don't understand how it works, but it's up to them, isn't it? If they feel, some people like to donate to their favourite content producers.
Oh, absolutely.
People used to do it on my channel. I don't really push it anymore because I feel a bit cheeky, if I'm being honest. But
well, I don't think you need to feel cheeky, although it can. For me, as well, it can feel very cheeky, like asking for money. But then at the same time, I think, well, I'm the one putting time and effort. Maybe something like this, not so much like you and I just having a chat. It's just a stream. But like if I'm making a video and uploading it, and then time and effort's gone into it, and if someone wants to pay extra to get that content, that's fine and very much appreciated. But I think if people say, oh, I want other people to pay for my utility bills and for my way of life, then you need to get off YouTube and get a real job.
But what used to say it isn't a real job, though. What's the difference between that and some of the ridiculous jobs that people do and get paid a good wage to do it? No. Do you understand what I mean?
True,
why
but it
depends how it's a real job.
It depends how proud of your content you are, I suppose, to an extent.
Well, put it this way, right? If someone said to me I could make lawn videos, and people have suggested this to me, and it obviously wouldn't work. It's ridiculous. But if I could make 2 or 3 lawn videos a day and make a decent living off it, I'd do it. Do you know what I mean? But obviously it's ridiculous because it's just not a sustaining thing. But I don't think there's anything wrong with people doing it. But this is the thing. That guy who's not on Collider anymore, his content isn't very good if you ask me. And what he does is, I like him as a person, but what he does is he gets a certain topic off, like someone will send him a question, and he'll talk about that certain topic for longer than he needs to, and he'll keep repeating the same point over and over again.
Well, is that not to give people their money's worth?
No, but I don't think it's to give people the money's worth. I viewed it as he's trying to drag out the length of the video so he's got more of an opportunity to take money off people. Because why would you need him to repeat the same point over and over again? He just says the same thing repeatedly after another, and it's like your content's not very good, man.
But a lot of the most popular content on YouTube is very repetitive. You look at someone like Leafy is Here, who grew massively in 2016, and I believe now has been on sort of a steady decline. Well, ever since the Content Cop video on him, but Like I watched 2 or 3 of his videos, and I won't deny the first couple. I was like, "Oh, this is good." They were quite nice for me to be able to listen to and not have to see the video while I was at work. So I listened to a couple. I was like, "This is good." And then after 3 or 4, I was like, "Well, this is the same format over and over again." It's like literally he finds some shitty video someone's uploaded to YouTube, makes fun of them, bullies them to an extent, but yeah, and then claims it to be satire uh, because that's his way of getting around saying it's not just sort of attacking someone. And in fact, this is what kind of annoys me. Like it's like with my scam baiting videos and with your videos against predators, they get taken down for bullying and harassment. Yet you can find a tiny YouTuber on YouTube, if you're a big YouTuber, destroy them and get away with that. That's fine. YouTube don't mind that.
Oh, yeah, YouTube, I don't mind saying it, YouTube's whole guideline thing is bullying within itself, because what they did on my channel was take it down for a breach of guideline issues and not even give me the slightest hint as to what that actually is. I have no way of finding that out. I know I don't know personally who's done it, but I think I've got an idea. So why? That's like, I mean, this is a bit of a childish way of looking at it, but it's a little bit like a parent slapping his kid on the arse and not telling him why he's done it. It's ridiculous. You cannot. The whole point, if they sent me an email and said, "We've discovered such and such a thing, this is what you've done wrong," I'd be like, "Right, okay, I won't do it again." So how the fuck am I supposed to know?
Oh, I don't know. Everything, the whole landscape with YouTube has changed so dramatically over the last year. Like, I make videos that are supposedly meant to stop people from getting scammed and hopefully entertain people and stop people losing money. Yeah, I could upload 2 identical videos and one of them will come back saying this needs to be reviewed if it can be monetized and the other won't. And there's literally no difference between the 2 of them.
Yeah, Skeletons just mentioned that people were making like 10-hour fidget spinner videos boring. But you got to realise you can't give human beings any credit, because people generally are fucking morons, because people will watch anything.
Well, yeah, they're watching this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, but I'd say we're quite entertaining, actually.
Well, yeah, to an extent, yeah, more than some people.
But yeah, we're not going to win Oscars, but we have a laugh, don't we? And people like joining in and having a laugh. It's like a personal thing. But what I mean is, as Skeletons quite rightly pointed out, some of the videos that are being produced on YouTube now are just people playing computer games and recording it, and millions of people, well, maybe not millions, but thousands.
That's the origin of, that's the foundation of YouTube content. Is, I mean, the biggest YouTuber in the world is PewDiePie, who made his channel on doing exactly that, playing computer games.
There's nothing wrong with that. I just think that it just shows you don't have to have any genuine talent to make it.
Oh no, I would say theoretically, it would be very easy to make it on YouTube. Well, perhaps not so much on YouTube now, because the gaming part of it is not as easy as it used to be, and someone like PewDiePie had already built his fan base by then. But using something like Twitch and playing games, as long as you can be shouty, screamy, overexcited, and over the top, people will love it. I've been considering actually making a Twitch account where I'm like I don't know if someone else has the name, and if they have, they shouldn't, because I'm gonna say it now and no one else can use it. But the refined gamer, for the older generation of gamers, and then do some Twitch streaming of just the things I like to do. So the odd sort of, but then see, my sort of selection of games are so weird that they don't invite just the same variety of people. Because well, because like for example, I'm sure I could make some great videos helping people to trade on Ultimate Team on FIFA. I'm a fantastic trader on that game.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, but then I would also want to make some movies where I'm just GTA racing, or maybe just people following me the story in Assassin's Creed or The Last of Us. And
Well, then you just need your own games YouTube channel.
maybe, yeah. But I think I'd rather do it on Twitch now because YouTube's mental. And I think on Twitch you don't get the copyright for using the music and stuff like you do in YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, it depends how much of
But I think,
time you want to give to doing that.
but I think again, like if I did like, I don't think that the same sort of player database crosses over from GTA to FIFA, except for myself.
I don't really agree. Are you telling me that there's not shitloads of players out there that like FIFA and GTA?
No, you're probably right. Those are probably the two best games to do on.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, we're looking at, as you've just pointed out, GTA is probably the biggest game franchise that's ever existed, and the most well-made, and FIFA is the biggest grossing sports game in the world at the minute. Is that right?
Yeah. I think you're right on both counts.
So I think I think if you did that, you do well because you don't want to fucking get all gay on you, right? But you are good at talking.
Yeah, but I'm not. If you watch these people who do the gaming streams, they're like, whoa.
That's what I mean about why people are morons. People sometimes don't want good content; they just want people screaming at screens. You know what I mean?
They do. Yeah. People are very simple, but that's because most of the people who watch like internet bred entertainment tend to be between sort of 12 and 15, and they're spasticated.
Yeah, I tell you what was funny though. I watched the 20th greatest FIFA rages on YouTube. Oh, that was brilliant. That guy who fucking smashed up his entire room. It was fucking brilliant.
I'm not sure if I've seen that, but I've seen a lot of FIFA, a lot of rages videos. Yeah.
Yeah, it made me feel better about myself when I throw my pad across the room. I'm thinking it's not just me that's a weirdo.
I've still never done that.
Well, you obviously a lot more mild-mannered than me because I just can't.
You have to be zen-like with all games.
Obviously, I'm not as much as I thought.
Well, FIFA is the one game that pushes me to the limits of my zen-like persona. FIFA.
I've heard you get really pissed off. Really pissed off.
Yeah, with FIFA, yeah, but with GTA not. But then I tend to win at GTA Racing at least. So, and then the other things like we'll be doing this weekend, the heist. It's more. Well, yeah, Jay said he's definitely available, so hopefully Chris is going to be around because I'm excited to. I spent all of my money so we can do this, so we better fucking do it.
Yeah, it'll be a good laugh.
All of my GTA money, I mean, by the way, guys.
Yeah, not microtransactions.
Yeah. No, all I had from doing other things, I had 1.5 million, which is what it cost to start this heist. So we need to get on that.
No, that'll be good. Yeah, because it was good fun when we did the last one with Chris and John last year. But yeah, Skeleton's a GTA racing person. You should have Adam a go because he is like the best fucking racer at GTA. I've never known anything like it, you bastard.
Yeah, it's just honestly, it's very simple to win at GTA races. Just make sure you take the corners well. Yeah,
you just finish in front of the guy who's second, and you're guaranteed of winning. That's the trick.
Well, exactly. But no, it's all about the corners because people in GTA, it's amazing the amount of people that constantly keep their finger on the accelerator. And then you wonder why you can't take a corner very well.
No, but sometimes there's like the tactic of decelerating at the corners or using the brake.
I never use the brake. I just take off the accelerator. And then cut the corners in tight.
Right. Well, I think I need to adopt that tactic then, don't I?
Yeah.
I'm struggling on FIFA at the minute with crosses.
Are you?
Yeah.
What?
I always get
near post or far
post? I'm very
post?
good at working and creating space, on the flanks, I can always get in a good position to put a good crossing. But whenever I put a crossing, it never goes anywhere.
Where is it going? Is the keeper catching it or what?
Keeper's catching it every time.
Right, so then you need to pull full back as much as you can on the left trigger and put a hard cross in. It might go all the way across and no one will get on the end of it, but it's more likely not to go in the keeper's arms in that case.
Right, I'll remember that because that might do me some good.
Well, if you're going out far to the wing, then if you put a long deep cross in, normally your left-sided or right-sided winger or midfielder will get on the end of it if you do that.
Right, I'm just going to put my login in the chat for anybody that.
Oh shit! I need if this. I don't know if anyone here will be a player of it, but if anyone is a player of FIFA, I need someone to play me 2 friendly games on Ultimate Team to get the weekly challenges finished. So that would be appreciated.
And I'm I'm on Star Wars, which you don't like, obviously, and I'm playing Resident Evil 7 as well, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I'd like to play Resident Evil 7. I like the I like the 6.
I've not played. Well, the thing is, I've not played Resident Evil since like PS1 days. So it's. But this is first person, and all the others were like third person. Well, not. They were like kind of third person, weren't they?
Yeah. Wait, this is first person.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I don't know if I'll be that keen like that. I'm more of a third person gamer.
Yeah, but you give it a try though.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I've always enjoyed the Resident Evil games since the first one. Love myself a good scary game, but then The Last of Us came out, and that just put zombie games into a whole new ballpark.
Yeah. Any news on the sequel?
We got the couple of trailers out, but no, I don't know. Don't know when the sequel's coming out itself. But I will buy it on the day of release if I have any money.
I think we probably, embarrassingly, will make sure we're off work that day. I know I will.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure.
I must admit, I'm not ashamed to admit it, although I probably should be. Whenever the GTA games came out, I always booked a day off work.
GTA 4, I was in the queue at midnight outside game for the moment it came out. I bought my copy around 12:20 a.m. and I got home at around 1 a.m. and I played it until 4 a.m. and then I had to go to sleep and I booked a late shift for work, so I had to get up and go to work at about 11 a.m. But yeah, GTA 4, I was like, yeah, I'm all over this shit. And in the queue was actually a lot of fun.
I bet it was. It was revolutionary for as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I did. Well, it was sort of. I bought mine in High Wycombe. I don't know if you're familiar with High Wycombe, but it's a bit of a cunty town. And people were coming out of the shop going, "Oh, mine was the last one." And I was going, "Oh, what? No." And then like someone heard the first person make that joke, and literally everyone came out for the next 40 people going, "Mine was the last copy. Go home." And then then I went in and got my copy, and I went home, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm Nico Bellic. Time to fuck up New York."
Listen to this for a weekend, right? It came out on a Tuesday, if you remember, GTA 4.
Yeah.
And where I live in Manchester, there's a small town that had an independent game shop. And they always used to get games in early and sell it against the developers' wishes early.
Mm-hmm.
So I rung them up on the off chance on a Friday. It was about 11, and I knew the guy that owned it. He's not there anymore. I said, "Have you got it in?" And he went, "Yeah, I have." I was like, "Fucking hell!" I said, "Save me a copy, will you?" So I spoke to my boss and says, "Listen, can I use half a day's holiday?" He went, "Yeah, all right then." So I fucking bombed it home in the car, picked the game up, played that all afternoon, which was like the best thing ever. And I had a date that night, and I went and met her like in a joyous mood, and obviously had a very nice night, if you get what I'm saying. So what a night that is, eh?
Well, yeah, nice. Well, considering 4 nights later, I was waiting at 11:45 in line to get it. You got yours and had a shag by then.
I know. I didn't do that. That was a. I don't think that weekend will ever be topped because it was like revolutionary, that game, GTA 4. Although
Yeah.
it seems to get a lot of criticism in retrospect. When I first played it, it was fucking amazing.
No, I loved every minute of that game, but I think because it was the one and only game I ever queued up at midnight to buy as well, and just because I loved everything else in the series so far, I couldn't wait to be there to get that game. And in fact, when GTA 5 came out, I didn't have a console at the time. That was so depressing because I'd been like eagerly awaiting it for so long. And in fact, I didn't play
You couldn't play it straight
I didn't
away.
play GTA 5 until about a year after it came out.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Do you know we'll have to do a stream which won't appear to everybody? And I've mentioned this before, where we just talk about our favourite games and gaming as a whole.
Yeah, just why video games are amazing. That's a stream we definitely need to do.
Because I thought I mentioned it a while ago, and you was like, "Well, not everybody will like that," but obviously, no, but some people will. Give it. But anyway, I've just got your friend with Crest Skeleton on me phone because I've got the app and I've just accepted it. So we'll have to get GTA in sometime. Although I can't stop playing Star Wars Battlefront at the minute. Between that and FIFA.
Yeah, well, for me, it's all about building. I've just literally sold my middle bird camp so I can do the squad building challenge for the top-rated bird camp, and it's ridiculous. But I think I've got enough money to more or less do it without having to buy or sell any other players, and you get free packs for each part of the level or each squad building challenge that you do. So I'm going to save them for when Team of the Year comes out. But all I'm hoping is that Leonardo Bonucci is in Team of the Year. Anyway, I'm going on and on about like names and football and things that no one will understand. So I think maybe we've been going for nearly 2 hours.
Yeah, should we call it a night?
I think we should really. I don't know whether. Yeah, now I'm going to end up trying to do my Bergkamp squad building thing. I should wait until the weekend when more players are available and it's cheaper. Yes.
I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch The Room again.
Really?
I'm probably gonna. Yeah, why not?
All right, go for it. Well, I won't hold it against you. But well, I can send you a link to the disaster. I mean, I can help you out if you need to see the Disaster Artist.
I've already got it.
Okay. Well, yeah, anyway, guys, thanks so much in the chat for joining us. I do apologise for the few kind of trolls who came along, tried to ruin our good time, but we still ended up with more likes than dislikes. So I would say when there's one person with multiple accounts disliking and you guys smack them down, it's hugely appreciated. Thank you, especially Amelia, for dealing with those cunts so quickly. And thanks for joining me, Andy, as always.
Yeah, thanks for having me, mate, and thanks everybody in the chat. It's been good fun.
Yeah, so take care, everyone, and we will see you soon, I'm sure. Bye.